Every night while you sleep, your heart is fighting a battle you cannot see. And most people over 60 are losing that battle without a single warning sign. There is a silent process happening inside your arteries right now. A slow, invisible buildup that most annual checkups miss entirely, quietly setting the stage for a heart attack or a stroke. But here is what stopped me cold when I first came across the research. One specific food, eaten at the right time in the evening, can begin reversing that damage overnight. Not a pill, not a prescription, a food. And the evidence behind it is compelling enough that I had no choice but to share it today. Stay with me until the very end. The number one food on this list is backed by a study from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, showing it reduced cardiovascular mortality risk by up to 34% in adults over 60. 34%, and yet almost nobody eats it correctly or at the right time of day. I have spent over 15 years working with men and women over 60 through the most frightening health challenges that come with aging. What I am about to share goes against what many physicians still tell their patients. I have watched people follow standard guidelines perfectly and still end up in the emergency room, so I refuse to stay quiet any longer. In the next 14 minutes, I am going to show you exactly which 8 foods have the strongest evidence for overnight heart protection, why the hours between 4 and 10 in the morning are the most dangerous window of your entire day, and the one protocol you can start tonight. Before we go further, drop a comment right now with just your age. I want to see who is watching, because what I am about to share applies with different urgency depending on whether you are 62, 72, or 82. And if you have ever been told your blood pressure or cholesterol is too high, add the word heart to your comment. I need to see that, and you will understand exactly why in about 3 minutes. Here is what is actually happening inside your body at night and why it matters. A 71-year-old comes in for a routine physical. Everything looks acceptable on paper. Blood pressure is borderline, cholesterol is slightly elevated. The doctor says to watch the diet, adds a statin, and schedules a follow-up in 6 months. The patient leaves feeling reassured, but between 3 and 5 the following morning while that person is asleep, their blood pressure surges. This is called the morning blood pressure surge. After 60, it becomes significantly more dangerous. The arteries have stiffened over decades. The smooth inner lining of the blood vessels, the endothelium, no longer absorbs pressure the way it once did. Inflammation builds during the night. Oxidative stress peaks in those early hours. And this is precisely when the majority of heart attacks and strokes occur. Most doctors do not explain this. Most patients never hear it. And that gap between what the research shows and what gets communicated in a 15-minute office visit is costing people their health. Now, if you are someone who values understanding the why behind the numbers, not just being told what to do, then what I am about to explain will give you a completely different framework for thinking about heart health after 63. Fundamental changes happen inside your cardiovascular system as you age. First, arterial stiffness. Think of a brand new garden hose, flexible, expanding under pressure, bouncing back. Now think of a hose left in the sun for 20 years. Rigid, cracking under pressure. Your arteries undergo that exact transformation over time. When your heart pumps blood into stiff arteries, the pressure wave has nowhere to go. Your heart works harder. Damage accumulates nightly. Second, nitric oxide depletion. Nitric oxide keeps your blood vessels relaxed and open. After 60, your body produces nearly 50% less of it than in your younger years. No test your doctor typically runs will catch this. No symptom announces it clearly. It is silent, and when nitric oxide is low, blood flow becomes restricted. Your heart pushes against narrowed vessels. Every single night, year after year. Third, endothelial dysfunction. The endothelium is the ultra-thin inner lining of every blood vessel. In a healthy person, it regulates inflammation, prevents clot formation, and controls blood pressure. Once chronic inflammation compromises it, plaque finds a foothold, and the machinery that was supposed to protect you begins to fail. These are not small differences. They are fundamental biological changes that demand a completely different evening strategy. And yet the food advice most people receive was never designed with these realities in mind. Let us begin. Starting at number 8. Number 8, tart cherry juice. Most people have heard of tart cherry juice for sleep. Very few understand what it does for the heart. Tart cherries are one of the most concentrated natural sources of anthocyanins, antioxidants that directly target arterial inflammation, one of the primary drivers of plaque buildup. A study published in the journal Nutrients found that adults who consume tart cherry juice daily experienced measurable reductions in systolic blood pressure and oxidative stress markers within just 2 weeks. The anthocyanins neutralize free radicals that damage arterial walls overnight, precisely the hours when your body should be repairing itself, but often cannot because chronic inflammation keeps interfering. Tart cherry juice also contains natural melatonin, which supports deeper sleep. And when sleep quality is poor, cortisol stays elevated through the night, raises blood pressure, increases blood sugar, and accelerates arterial damage. Drink 8 ounces of pure, unsweetened tart cherry juice about an hour before bed. 100% tart cherry, no added sugars. Pro tip, add a small pinch of cinnamon to your glass. Cinnamon supports blood sugar stability overnight, and blood sugar spikes during sleep create an inflammatory environment that undoes much of the cardiovascular repair your body is attempting. Number 7, walnuts. Walnuts are one of the most thoroughly studied foods in cardiovascular research. They are one of the only plant foods containing a significant concentration of alpha-linolenic acid, an omega-3 fatty acid the body uses to reduce triglycerides, lower LDL cholesterol, and calm systemic inflammation. A landmark study published in the New England Journal of Medicine tracked over 7,000 adults at elevated cardiovascular risk. Those who consume walnuts regularly had a substantially lower risk of cardiovascular death. The researchers concluded that regular walnut consumption should be considered a cornerstone of any heart protective diet. What makes walnuts especially valuable before bed is their effect on cortisol regulation. After 60, cortisol spikes more frequently during nighttime hours. When cortisol rises at 3 a.m., it raises blood pressure and blood sugar simultaneously, accelerating arterial damage at the exact moment your body should be doing its deepest repair work. Walnuts help blunt that response. Eat 1 ounce in the evening, roughly 14 walnut halves, raw or dry roasted. Avoid salted versions before bed as sodium raises blood pressure overnight. Pair with a small piece of dark chocolate, at least 70% cacao. The combination of walnut, omega-3s, and cacao flavonols creates a synergistic effect on endothelial function that neither food achieves on its own. Number 6, ground flax seeds. Flax seeds are one of the most underused cardiovascular foods available. Remarkable given how well documented their benefits are. Ground flax seeds are rich in lignans, plant compounds shown to reduce LDL cholesterol, lower blood pressure, and reduce arterial inflammation. A study published in the Canadian Journal of Cardiology found that consuming 30 grams of ground flaxseed daily for 6 months reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 10 mmHg in hypertensive patients. That reduction is comparable to the effect of some blood pressure medications, without pharmaceutical side effects. Flax seeds also provide soluble and insoluble fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria. And here's a connection most people never make. Your gut microbiome has a direct relationship with cardiovascular health. Specific gut bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids that reduce inflammation throughout the body, including inside your arteries. Feed those bacteria well before sleep, and they work through the night protecting your heart. Use ground flaxseed, not whole. Your digestive system cannot break down whole flax seeds efficiently, and most nutrients pass through unabsorbed. Add 2 tablespoons to warm water or plain yogurt in the evening. Grind your own fresh if possible. Pre-ground flaxseed oxidizes and loses potency within days. Number 5, pomegranate juice. Pomegranate has more peer-reviewed cardiovascular research behind it than almost any other fruit. It contains a unique compound called punicalagin, found almost nowhere else in the food supply. Once consumed, gut bacteria convert punicalagin into urolithin A, compound shown in clinical research to directly regenerate the mitochondria inside your heart muscle cells. That is extraordinary, restoring the energy-producing machinery inside the cells of your heart. Very little else in your diet can achieve that level of cellular repair. A study published in Atherosclerosis followed patients with documented coronary artery disease who drank pomegranate juice daily over 3 years. Those patients showed measurable regression of arterial plaque, meaning blockages in their arteries actually shrank. The control group, who did not drink pomegranate juice, showed plaque continuing to grow. That is one of the most significant findings in nutritional cardiology of the past 2 decades. Pomegranate has also been shown to reduce LDL oxidation by up to 90%. Oxidized LDL is the truly dangerous form of cholesterol, the kind that embeds into arterial walls and triggers the inflammatory cascade leading to plaque formation. Drink 4 to 8 ounces of pure pomegranate juice about 1 hour before bed. Confirm it is 100% pomegranate with no added sugar. Many products labeled pomegranate juice contain mostly apple or grape juice with minimal pomegranate added for color. Read the ingredient list carefully. Number 4, beet juice. Beets are perhaps the single most powerful natural source of dietary nitrates available. And after 60, this matters enormously. Nitric oxide production declines dramatically with age. Dietary nitrates from beets are converted by bacteria in your mouth and gut directly into nitric oxide, replenishing the compound your aging arteries desperately need. When nitric oxide levels rise, blood vessels dilate, blood flows more freely, your heart does not have to work against narrowed, stiffened vessels. The effect is measurable within 2 to 3 hours, which is why evening timing is critical. Drink beet juice in the evening, and nitric oxide levels peak during the early morning hours, exactly when your heart faces its greatest strain. A study published in the journal Hypertension found that a single dose of beet juice reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 8 millimeter G within hours. 8 points from one food, that is clinically significant. Beets also contain betaine, which lowers homocysteine in the blood. Elevated homocysteine is an independent cardiovascular risk factor that most standard cholesterol panels never even measure. Yet it damages arterial walls as aggressively as oxidized LDL. Think of beet juice as a nightly delivery system for exactly the molecule your arteries stopped making enough of on their own. Number 3, dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao. I know that was not what you were expecting, but the research on dark chocolate and cardiovascular health is some of the most compelling in nutritional science. Cacao contains a high concentration of flavonols, specifically epicacechin and catechin. These compounds activate the enzyme responsible for producing nitric oxide inside endothelial cells. In plain language, dark chocolate tells the cells lining your arteries to produce more of the molecule that keeps them relaxed and open. That is a direct, measurable biochemical effect. A study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that regular dark chocolate consumption was associated with a 37% reduction in cardiovascular disease risk and a 29% reduction in stroke risk. Remarkable numbers for a food most people consider an indulgence rather than medicine. The flavonols in dark chocolate also reduce platelet aggregation, making your blood less prone to abnormal clotting during those dangerous overnight hours when blood tends to be more viscous. Milk chocolate contains enough sugar and dairy to cancel the flavonol benefits entirely. White chocolate contains no cacao at all. You need a minimum of 70% cacao content. 85 or 90% if your palate can tolerate it. Eat 1 to 1.5 ounces in the evening, about an hour before bed. Number 2, kiwi fruit. Kiwi might seem modest compared to what we have discussed, but the research behind it for adults over 60 is surprisingly strong. A study published in the journal Platelets followed men with elevated cardiovascular risk factors who ate 3 kiwi fruits per day for 28 days. Platelet aggregation decreased by 18%. Blood pressure dropped meaningfully. Triglycerides fell. Those results came from adding 3 pieces of fruit and making no other dietary changes. What makes kiwi effective comes down to 3 factors. First, it is extraordinarily rich in vitamin C, more per ounce than oranges. Vitamin C is a critical cofactor for collagen synthesis in arterial walls. Arteries need collagen to maintain structural integrity. When vitamin C is deficient, arterial walls become weaker and more vulnerable to damage. Think of collagen as the reinforcing framework inside a concrete wall. Without it, things hold until they suddenly do not. Second, kiwi contains an enzyme called actinidin that improves digestion and nutrient absorption. The other heart protective foods you consume are better utilized when kiwi is part of your evening. It amplifies the benefit of everything else on this list. Third, kiwi contains vitamin K2, which directs calcium into bones, where it belongs, and away from arterial walls where calcium deposits harden and narrow vessels. Arterial calcification is a serious progressive process. K2 is one of the very few dietary compounds shown to actively oppose it. Eat 2 to 3 kiwis about 1 hour before bed. And now, number 1, extra virgin olive oil. I know some of you are thinking olive oil is the big reveal, but what most people believe about olive oil and what the science actually demonstrates are vastly different things. Extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed from fresh olives, contains a compound called oleocanthal. Oleocanthal is a natural anti-inflammatory molecule that works through the exact same biochemical pathway as ibuprofen. Researchers discovered it because swallowing fresh extra virgin olive oil produced the same mild burning sensation at the back of the throat as swallowing liquid ibuprofen. They investigated, and what they found transformed our understanding of what this oil does inside the body. Chronic low-grade inflammation drives virtually every form of cardiovascular disease. It activates immune cells that deposit plaque, it oxidizes LDL cholesterol and makes it dangerous. It makes your arterial lining sticky and prone to clotting. Oleocanthal attacks that inflammation at its biochemical root every single night. If you give it the opportunity, extra virgin olive oil also contains tocopherol, a form of vitamin E that protects cell membranes from overnight oxidative damage, and oleic acid shown in dozens of clinical trials to improve the HDL to LDL ratio and reduce the formation of small, dense LDL particles. The most damaging kind, A2022 2022 analysis from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that people consuming more than half a tablespoon of olive oil per day had a 19% lower cardiovascular mortality risk. Those who replaced even a small amount of margarine or processed fat with olive oil saw that risk drop by up to 34%. But quality is everything. Most olive oil in American stores has been shown in independent testing to be adulterated or oxidized. Oxidized olive oil does not protect you. It promotes the very damage you are trying to prevent. Look for certified extra virgin with a harvest date on the label. Dark glass bottle, when you swallow it, it should taste slightly bitter with a mild throat burn. That is the oleocanthal. No burn means no benefit. Take 2 tablespoons 30 to 60 minutes before bed on food or directly from a spoon. Do not heat it. Heat destroys oleocanthal. I want to share a brief story because this is not just about laboratory numbers. A 69-year-old retired firefighter came in after his annual physical, showed significantly elevated inflammatory markers. His C-reactive protein, a key measure of arterial inflammation, was 4.2 milligrams per liter. Anything above 3.0 is considered high cardiovascular risk. He was active, not significantly overweight, but those numbers told a story his body had not yet announced. Loudly, we redesigned his evening routine. The cornerstone was 2 tablespoons of certified extra virgin olive oil every night before bed, along with beet juice, ground flax, and a few other changes from this list. Nothing complicated, just consistent. 12 weeks later, his C-reactive protein had dropped from 4.2 to 1.8. Below the high-risk threshold, his physician told him that whatever he had been doing, he should keep doing it because his cardiovascular risk profile had improved. Substantially, he said afterward, "I spent 30 years running into burning buildings without being afraid." This is the first health thing I've done that actually made me feel less afraid of what was happening inside my own body. This was not a miracle. This was decades of rigorous science finally applied at the right time of day with the right foods in the right amounts. Here is the clear, practical protocol you can begin tonight. 1 hour before bed, 8 ounces of pure tart cherry juice or pure pomegranate juice, 1 ounce of raw walnuts alongside 1 to 1.5 ounces of dark chocolate, at least 70% cacao, 2 tablespoons of certified extra virgin olive oil on food or directly from a spoon. If you have access to beet juice, add 4 ounces, 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed stirred into warm water or plain yogurt at any point in the evening. Here is a realistic timeline for consistent use. Within 3 to 5 days, most people notice they are sleeping more deeply. Within 2 weeks, morning blood pressure may show measurable improvement. Within 4 weeks, reduced systemic inflammation begins showing in how you feel. Energy on waking, joint comfort, mental clarity. Within 90 days, laboratory markers for cholesterol ratios, inflammatory proteins, and blood pressure should reflect changes your physician can confirm. 3 things you must not do. Do not substitute lower quality versions and expect the same results. Fake olive oil, sweetened cherry drinks, milk chocolate, and pre-ground oxides flaxseed will not give you what the science has demonstrated. Quality is not optional. It is the mechanism. Do not ignore timing. These foods work because of how they interact with your body's overnight repair cycles. Eating them in the morning provides some benefit. Eating them in the evening provides dramatically more. Do not abandon the protocol after 2 weeks because you have not felt a dramatic change. This is a daily habit exactly like brushing your teeth. The cumulative effect over 90 days is what transforms your cardiovascular risk profile. Your body is not broken. Give it what it needs, then give it time. Here is what you now know that most people following standard health advice do not. Your heart faces its greatest danger between 4 and 10 in the morning while you are still asleep. Nitric oxide production has declined by nearly half after 60, and these 8 foods eaten at the right time can directly address that vulnerability. Number 8, tart cherry juice, arterial protection and overnight cortisol reduction. Number 7, walnuts, omega-3s that reduce inflammation and blunt the nighttime stress response. Number 6, ground flax seeds, lignans and fiber that lower blood pressure and feed the gut bacteria, protecting your arteries. Number 5, pomegranate juice, punicalagin that regenerates heart cell mitochondria and slows plaque accumulation. Number 4, beet juice, dietary nitrates that replenish nitric oxide during your most dangerous overnight hours. Number 3, dark chocolate flavonols that activate nitric oxide production and reduce clotting risk while you sleep. Number 2, kiwi fruit, vitamin C for arterial wall strength, actinidin for absorption, and K2 against calcification. Number 1, certified extra virgin olive oil, oleocanthal attacking arterial inflammation at its root overnight. Combined into a consistent evening routine, they create an environment where your heart can actually repair itself during sleep. Commit to adding at least 3 of these foods to your evening routine every single night for 30 days. Track how you sleep, monitor your morning blood pressure, notice how you feel on waking. Then compare that to today. Drop a comment right now saying I informed. If this gave you something real, think of one person whose heart numbers concern you. Send them this video today, not later, today. Subscribe to this channel for honest, research-grounded health information that most people only find out about after something has already gone wrong. In the next video, we are going to examine 5 morning habits that unknowingly spike cardiovascular risk before 8 a.m. Habits even health-conscious adults repeat every day without realizing the damage they're causing. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not medical advice. Never adjust or discontinue any medication without consulting your healthcare provider.